Okay.
So where are you from? Yeah, are you able to hear that on that end? I always hear it. Nobody ever comments on it ever. So okay, that's good.
Yeah, the robot. Yeah.
It's a good intro.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, where are you from originally?
I was born in Arizona, but I grew up in Washington, so in Seattle mostly, but moved around a lot. So yeah, kind of a Pacific Northwest person.
Yeah,
Still am. Still live in Portland.
still there. So what part of Arizona?
I was born in Mesa, Arizona, so it's like a suburb of Phoenix, basically.
All right, yeah, right around the area. Very nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you consider I'm in Orange County, so.
Oh, okay, Tech.
And I've been here forever, so.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Haven't moved yet, so we'll see though. We'll see.
Your parents' house there?
Oh yeah.
For real?
Oh yeah. This is it, man. Awesome. Yeah. No, it's good, and they're very nice to let me do this here. They're very very understanding of this. So I do appreciate it. So when they do listen to this, I appreciate you, mom and dad, to let me do this here. But they're so far behind on episodes. I don't know if they're ever gonna get to this one. I asked him, hey, did you listen to that one, or what's the last one you listened to? Like, oh, and they'll say something. It's like that was 4 months ago. So, but yeah, so hopefully
like you're still doing that. Okay.
Yeah, it's still happening. No, they're on the ball about it, which is good. Yeah. That's cool. So it was to Seattle right after that, huh?
Well, I moved around a lot. I've lived all over. We lived in Alaska and all over Washington, and I moved around a ton as a kid. So, but I lived here in Portland for maybe 12 years or so. We moved to Shelby, and I moved away. My girlfriend, I moved away. We went back to Arizona a little bit a couple of years ago, and then lived in LA for a little bit, and then it's like, well, I don't really make enough money to live in LA anymore. So I had to move back to Portland, Yeah,
it's so expensive. So you were really jumping around a lot as a kid.
Oh yeah. A ton. Yeah.
Do you feel that your quote unquote home would be Washington then?
Yeah, because I went to high school in Seattle proper, and it'd probably be Seattle, I guess, the most, as a kid. But right. It's like people ask you, oh, where are you from? And you're just like, I'm not going to explain the whole story. So you're like, yeah, Seattle is good.
Yeah. wherever you think I am from, that's where I am. Yeah. Exactly. Got it. Mm-hmm. Portland. Yeah. Portland, Maine. Yep.
Yeah. Right.
That's it. You got it. But you went to college, right?
I went to college, unfortunately. Yes, I did that. I went to art school for 5 years and ruined my life, ruined my credit. And
oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm still not paying that off.
It's not being forgiven. There's no way out of it. Nope.
No. I know everyone always says that. They're like, oh, this guy, he's going to forgive those. And I'm like, yeah, like I'll vote for that motherfucker.
Sure.
But yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead, please.
Oh no, I was gonna say something stupid. It doesn't matter.
That's exactly what I was gonna say too. I saw some school. It was like their graduating gift was that all their debt was gonna be just forgiven. Holy I don't know what school that was. Like, oh man,
I should have gone there. Yeah.
Yeah. Why did you go to college? What was your driving force?
I went for illustration. I paint and stuff, and I was always going to do that, like editorial illustration. And I went to school at CCAC in San Francisco, and Oakland, and I did that. I was doing work, and I quit after 3 years because I was like, I can do this now. And then moved back up to Washington and was having art shows and, doing a little bit of work. But then, the bills started coming in for school. And it was like, you can either start paying your bills or you can go back to school and like finish your degree. And you won't, then you can go on forbearance. And I'm like, well, I don't have enough money to like pay right now, so I'm just going to go back to school and just owe more money, you know.
Yeah.
So that's actually why I moved to Portland originally. Was there was a slightly less expensive art school here that doesn't, I don't think it exists anymore. It's called PNCA, Pacific Northwest College of Art. So I went there for a couple of years, didn't even really graduate, but you know, kind of you know, they let you walk, you know, you have the graduation ceremony, and then you know, you open up your diploma and it's like a bill, you know. It's not really a diploma.
Like, yeah, man, you're gonna walk across the stage, and then the parking lot's right back that way. If you just wanna, just across right there, yeah.
Yeah. So, but you know what? No one's ever asked to see my diploma. You know, if they're like, "Oh, did you graduate college?" I just say yes, and they're like, "Oh, that's great," you know, on a job interview, and it's like, man, I could have just been lying this whole time. You know, like no one cares. No one cares about a BFA.
So. How far do you think you could get? Like, what is the best school you think that you could say that you went to without them raising an eyebrow like that? Like that.
I have no idea.
Like that'd be an interesting thing.
What job, you know?
Yeah.
Could you go to Wyden Kennedy or Nike, you know, and get, you know, a design job and just lie, just be like, yeah, I fucking went to, you know,
fit them. Yeah, I went to fit
whatever the biggest art school is anymore. I don't know.
Yeah. You're just like, yeah, Stanford. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Stanford. It's like, oh yeah, and you're applying it for Staples. So yeah, I do. Yep. This is where I need to be. Yeah, that'd be really interesting concept. SNHU.edu. Yeah. And they're like, yeah, you probably definitely went there to be saying that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or University of Phoenix, but all of
University of Phoenix, that's the one. Yeah, the online one.
Yeah, but all of them are online. Or I mean, some are coming back, some are not. It's so. I guess it depends on the college, but anyways, what did you? What was your major? What did you end with?
I had an illustration major, but I was, you know, but it was funny. By the time I was, you know, I stopped school or was, you know, graduating, I had all these teachers that were, you know, like, you know, illustration can be kind of like, you know, you just do it. It's a job, you know, kind of, well, it doesn't have to be like that. You know, I guess probably the best illustrators don't do it like that. But, you know, like I had all these teachers like, you know, you should do like, you know, some more conceptual stuff or do some, you know, installation work. And so by the time I graduated, like my thesis was like, had like nothing to do with illustration, you know, which was probably the worst thing I could have done. I should have been like just making a portfolio to get a job, you know, but instead I was like, you know, it was doing goofy ass shit, you know, so that didn't ever really help me, you know. So,
you got to expand. You got to really play all the sides, all the angles. Yeah. Really diversify.
So, you know, illustration was not a very hip major. It was like, you know, conceptual stuff. You know, it's Portland, it's art school. You gotta do some more wild stuff.
Yeah, dude. Art school confidential, man. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, totally.
What was your first job? Very first job?
What was my very first job? Man, I don't know what I started working really early. I worked at a Value Village unloading trucks and like right, you know, and when I was like 15, I worked at a Toys R Us. That was my worst job probably. I worked as a snowboard instructor. I've had like 100 jobs.
Why was Toys R Us the worst one?
Well, I was a bike builder, which I didn't build bikes. They just put me in the back, you know, and I was like, oh, that sounds like a pretty cool job, you know. It's not. It's like the back of the Toys R Us is just like, it's like a dungeon. It's like so dirty and dark, and you're putting together these bikes with no idea what you're doing, you know. So you're like, you know, people order the bike and then it's in a box and you got to just figure out how to put it together. So it's like you're sending kids out on these bikes that are probably like falling apart, you know. It's getting them, you know, like it's like a lawsuit waiting to happen, kind of, you know.
Like, probably, yeah. Oh, the chain's supposed to go on the crank. Okay,
right,
yeah. My mistake. My bad, boss. Bring it back. Bring it back.
Yeah, that was a terrible job, but I've done all kinds of stuff. I did concrete, and when I lived in Arizona, did pouring concrete. That was a pretty bad job. I have had some cool jobs. So I worked for this guy, Brandon Gore. He's an artist. He was in Arizona. We were making concrete furniture and like stuff for ASU, which was pretty neat, and like sinks and stuff. So, and tabletops out of concrete, that was a really cool job. But
yeah, out of concrete. Wow.
Yeah, it's like fiber. It's FRC concrete. It's like it's got like fiberglass in it instead of rock to make it strong. So it's not as heavy, and you mold it instead of like trowel. Like when you're making patios or whatever, you're troweling it out and stuff. But this is like mold making kind of stuff.
Yeah,
it's really cool. He's a neat dude. He's a cool guy to look up. He does really cool work. So
that's awesome. Yeah. That is really interesting. I mean, I guess I've seen a concrete bench, but it's probably yeah.
Like when you go to the airport, I don't know what it's like at LAX, but like you go to the airport, and a lot of times they have these really cool like concrete sinks in the bathrooms and stuff. They're all wow. Funnels and stuff, like crazy shapes.
Yeah.
So we were doing that kind of stuff, which is pretty neat.
Interesting, very interesting. Were you moving around a lot because your parents' jobs, or it was just kind of bouncing around?
Yeah, my parents got divorced when I was like 1 or something like that, or before I was 1. So my mom and I just it was just my mom and I most of my life, just moving around and different jobs and that kind of thing. So,
no siblings?
No, I've got a half brother who lives in Arizona. That's who I was doing concrete with recently, a couple of years ago. My dad, all my dad's side of the family still lives in Arizona. So yeah, and kind of all my mom's side lives up in Washington and stuff like that.
You guys close? You and your half brother?
We're well, no, I wouldn't say we're close, but we're probably about as different as you could be. He was a cop for a while, an Arizona cop, and now he's what does he do now? He still does concrete stuff. He kind of runs the little concrete business, and we're pretty different. I mean, we get along fine though. He's pretty conservative. I'm pretty not conservative. So
opposites attract, man. Opposites attract, dude.
Yeah. I mean, we put up with each other. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, it's healthy. It's healthier than most half siblings relationships.
Yeah. It's fine for sure.
Yeah. Were you getting into a lot of trouble as a kid?
No, I was pretty nerdy. I was pretty much I was in all the after school bullshit. I was in school band from 5th grade all the way through 12th grade. I was
sweet. It's a good run. It's a good run.
Yeah, I was in drum corps. That's what I was doing. And
yeah,
I did all the theater stuff, all that real nerdy shit. I did that kind of stuff. I loved it. I still like that kind of stuff. But no, I was not getting into trouble. I mean, partying and stuff, but I didn't. I was busy. I was always busy with something.
You're like, yeah, I'll have this drink, but I got to be to school at 6 tomorrow, man. I got to rehearse, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. I did all that kind of stuff in high school.
Yeah. Was that your the introduction to music for you? Playing music was through school?
Yeah. When I pretty much I did like I said, I did marching band and all that kind of stuff, and then and I played drums. So I got a drum set, and then some of the guys that I did theater stuff with in high school, we had a band in high school. It's funny because there was like no other bands at my school. Sports is a big thing. I went to a really big high school, and it was more like basketball was the big thing, and so there was like no bands, so we just like started a band and had no idea, like we played like in our backyards and stuff, like barbecues, and for like middle school birthday parties and shit like that.
Sick.
So
it's good pay, man. It's good pay.
Yeah, it's funny when I farted when I started when I farted. No, when I started playing like music later on, like in real bands or whatever, like I had like no idea like how you do that. It's just like, oh, I guess you buy a van and you go on tour, I guess, or it's like completely no idea what I was doing.
Yeah.
But yeah.
What kind of music were you starting to get into when you started developing your own taste? Was there somebody guiding you into like listen to this or listen to that, or were you just kind of like stumbled upon stuff that you liked?
Yeah. I mean, I didn't really have any, older brothers or,
You got a
or
half brother.
yeah. Well, I got a half brother. Yeah, the younger half brother. Yeah, I didn't really have like a bunch of people like, oh, this is cool, that's cool. I used to go to the library and just like take my laptop and just like download like all of the CDs like at the library, like super nerdy style, like I would do that. But yeah, I don't know. I got really into the Pixies when I was in high school. That was like kind of one of the first bands I was like super into. And then kind of through that, kind of sort of got into, kind of surf and oldies kind of stuff. And, I still like that kind of music. I still listen to, I DJ, I have a couple DJ nights here in town. I still do kind of oldies and rockabilly and surf and, just that instrumental stuff. I still kind of into that sort of stuff.
Yeah. What do you think attracted you to that sound? Why were you so into that?
I'm not sure. It's probably from cartoons and stuff. When I was a kid, there was like all those shows had like surf music in them. Pee-wee and Ren and Stimpy and all that. I really liked cartoons as a kid. So and we like shows I'd watch. Like Mystery Science Theater and Monster Vision with Joe Bob Briggs and stuff like that. They always like had that kind of that sort of like 50s and the 90s sound, which I have always liked. It's one of my favorite genres of music is 50s and the 90s, like and country music's like that too. I love Dwight Yoakam and Randy Travis and kind of those kind of throwback like in the 90s people doing 50s or 60s kind of music. So that's probably like how I kind of got into it. And then once I like figured out like, oh, this is like the genre and here's the bands, and it was just sort of like making my way through all that, found the Ventures and Dick Dale and then
Snowball Effect and other things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I really got into the like kind of second wave surf stuff too, Low Straight Jackets and Satan's Pilgrims and Bambi Molesters and all that kind of stuff. Kind of slowly made my way through. I'm still doing that. I mean, there's still so many of those bands with so much crazy music,
Yeah. When did you transition from playing the drums in a band to playing the guitar?
In my first band, I always had ideas for songs. Like I started writing music pretty early on, and a lot of it was that I couldn't, I'd have ideas and couldn't explain the songs to the guitar players. I'd be like, it's like, nah, 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 nah. They're like, I don't know what you're saying. That's that go away, So yeah, I just started. That's how I kind of learned. And my stepdad he's a good guitar player, and he gave me my first guitar. It was a right-handed guitar that he strung up for me left-handed, and I kind of just learned that way, self-taught, just so I could explain how the songs went to my bandmates. And then once I started getting more into like kind of surf stuff, that's when I just started playing guitar more and more. And then going to college, like I couldn't have a drum set or whatever, so it's just kind of, I'm sure that's how most people get into playing guitar. They can't.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. You need something a bit more quieter. It's like, okay, I could get away with this, not bringing a whole kit to a dorm.
Oh God, my mom and I, when we lived on Capitol Hill when I was in high school, and we lived in this little rinky-dink apartment building, and I had a full drum set in there and would like play And as a kid, you're like 14, 15 or whatever. And it's like, you don't get that you're like totally being an asshole, just like playing drum, like full drum, just full bore, playing like in this apartment building. And I remember, people in the building, I'd see them and they'd be like, oh, like you live there, you're the kid with the drums, huh? And like, yeah, not realizing that probably like
yeah, there's a deeper meaning to that sense.
Yeah,
oh, you're the kid who plays drums. It's like, fuck you, dude.
Yeah, you little dick. Yeah.
yeah. Oh yeah. I always feel bad when I play. I'm like, man, like I'm that fucking guy right now. I'm that asshole.
You play drums?
Yeah.
Cool.
And I'm always that dickhead. Yeah.
Yeah.
I really try to not be, but
yeah,
I try to do it. I'm like, most people are probably out of their houses right now.
Yeah.
I mean, but it's such an issue. But
it's a tough one.
Yeah. Were you left-handed in drums as well as a guitar?
No, I just left-handed guitar. Yeah. Which I'm so glad that I didn't learn drums left-handed, because it just looks so goofy. And then two, it's like, there's the left-handed drummer at the show, that wants to borrow your drum set. And you're like, yeah, sure, and then you get up there, it's all fucked up. And
you switch everything back.
Yeah, you're like, come on, man, like set it up. So I'm glad I learned, regular drum style. I kind of wish I would have learned how to play guitar right-handed, because, there's so many guitars that I want, I have that I can never buy, because they never came left-handed. So
yeah. So did you know instantly right when you picked it up, you're like, this just feels more natural?
Yeah, I guess that's what it was. I think, I didn't know, I learned kind of like with the guitar to slipped over, at first. So my stepdad was like, like, you're never going to be able to play chords like this, or it's going to be really tough, so he's one that kind of strung it up and showed me.
And you said Hendrix did it, so what the fuck?
Yeah. That's what I said.
He said, if Hendrix can do it, what the fuck, man? I could do it.
Dude, if this Joker can do it, I got this. It's in the bag.
Whatever. All right, give me some lighter fluid, man. I'll show you what's up.
Right, exactly.
So it was the transition when you went into college that you started playing guitar more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then what was the first band that you were in that you were playing the guitar?
I mean, it might be, I think Baywatch maybe is the first band I ever really played guitar in. I mean, I think that was it. I mean, I played, some keyboards and another, bands in college and just dinked around. But I think Baywatch was the first band I played guitar in, which is so funny.
Was it odd taking that leap from the back to the front?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, like I said, I did a lot of theater stuff, which sounds really dorky, but did a lot
the truest form of art, man. I've said it before. Yeah. I'll say it again. Yeah. You try to do Macbeth,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I was already doing a lot of theater stuff, like it's really embarrassing, but yeah, I did a lot of like improv and
zip zap zip.
Yeah, zip zap.
Oh yeah. Right. Or Zop. So I'm my apologies. I wasn't yes-anding you right there, and I am sorry.
No one will get these jokes unless they're complete nerds also, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I was already pretty comfortable like being on stage and doing stuff. But yeah, so that was kind of fun, I still like it. I like just like being in front of people and doing that kind of thing. I'm not sure why, but yeah, it's still fun.
So you did you start Baywatch in Portland, correct?
I did. Yeah, I met Chevelle in at PNCA in college, and we worked together at a movie theater, like this old-timey movie theater here in Portland. And
was that a good job, by the way? Was that one of the higher ranking ones you've had?
I didn't do anything. I just dicked around. I pretty much just like drank free beer. It's
one of those. Yeah.
It was one of those kind of stealing beer, after hours kind of places. I was not doing hardly anything at all. But that's kind of how Chevelle and I met, and we started that. with one of our other friends, and the rest is history, I guess. I don't know.
And the name came from a zine, is that correct?
No, yeah, my friend was making some kind of zine of like dumb band names or just band names, and we were like, coming up with stupid band names, and that was, one of them. And yeah, I really wish I would have picked something else.
It's a memorable name, man.
It's memorable, but it's terrible. It's like I hate the fucking Guantanamo Baywatch is a band name. I've always hated it, and I've tried to change it multiple times. And we
go. Did you ever get a cease and desist or anything from, or cease and desist from Baywatch? Like the people who created it?
No, we have not. But
the U.S. military had a word with you.
One of the main head lawyers that helped some of the prisoners in Guantanamo Bay, his daughter was a Guantanamo Baywatch fan, and she bought him a t-shirt at a show and gave it to him, and he loves it. He's like, he was like, we have like a picture of him wearing the shirt. He's like one of these like top, I can't remember what the guy's name is. This is a while ago now, but yeah, he thought it was hilarious. He loved it. And people used to, when people give a shit about the band name, I'm like, listen, if this guy's okay with it, like, it can't be that bad. Like, it can't be that offensive, right? Like, but yeah, but no cease and desist from Baywatch.
Hasselhoff or Anderson.
Yeah. They don't care.
So why did you say yes to the name if you didn't like it? You're just like back up against the wall, you needed it?
No, at the time, I was like, oh, this is like funny and cool. And there was like, that was like a thing for a minute in Portland, like, these kind of like funny, stupid, like turn of phrase, band names. And also, like, I had no idea that like 12, 13 years later, I would still be doing this stupid band. It was for like a Halloween show. We were going to play like one show, or two shows, so I would have put more thought into it if I realized like that it would take up one of the biggest chunks of my life. This terrible, stupid band.
So how did it evolve from just planning to play one or two shows to where it went?
We played a lot of house shows. That was kind of like our thing. And there was a ton of house show spots in Portland, in 2008, 2009 or whatever. And yeah, we just kept playing, and it was like fun. I love, it's music that we liked to play and write, I mean, I look back on it and there's a lot of awful music that we made, and like just stupid, bad songs and, just bad choices. But at the time, like, I thought it was cool, and so we just kind of kept doing it. And then we played a show at this, at a Work Sound, which was an old, well, not old, but it was a gallery, like an art gallery practice space. And we played a show there, and I met Tim and Mark Jankar, who run Hovercraft Records, and they're just like cool, like old Portland punk dudes, and they're like, hey, like, do you want to make a record? We'll pay for it. You can just pretty much have all the records. They didn't take anything. They didn't take the masters. They gave us all the records. They paid for everything to be made. Like, it was insane. It was just like one of those homie hookup punk things that was so cool to happen. And so then we got like 500 records in the mail, and we were like, shit, like, how are we going to sell all these records, And so I bought a $500 van, and we booked an entire US tour on MySpace. Just went on MySpace, spent like 3 months booking this tour. No idea what we were doing. I'd never been on tour. I mean, I'd never done any of that kind of stuff, but we were like, yeah, we got this, and the van actually made it, like, it was ridiculous. It was like a 2-month tour or something. It was absolutely insane for like your first tour. And when we got back, then it was like, oh shit, like this band, like they're like a real band, like they've got their own gear and their own van, and they went on a tour, like, and then after that, like we actually started getting paid for shows and stuff, and then we were just like hooked, we just toured nonstop. We were doing like 3 tours a year, just anytime we could just go on tour. So that's how we like learned how to do everything, was just booking. We booked everything ourselves. We just made our own merch, and all that kind of stuff. So
yeah. Did that first tour make any money for you at all?
No, but we didn't lose very much. We didn't lose too much. And granted, we were lucky, we had all these free records, and our t-shirts were like, we'd go to the Goodwill bins and like spray paint, t-shirts. So they cost nothing. And our merch was cheap. That was the other way we made, when we did make money on tour, it was like our merch was always cheaper than everybody else's merch, because we didn't pay for those records, and our, or we bought or maybe we stole a tape dubbing machine, and we would make our own tapes. We had it in the van. So if we get to like someone's house, we would, just buy up all these, blank tapes or tapes from Goodwill and record over them. And, so we always kind of had like a constant supply of merch.
Is it the one that you could take the, or is it the one that you put 2 tapes in and you could tape over them?
This one actually had 1 master that you would put in, and then 3 slots to do. And it would do them like half speed or something. It only, if the tape took like, our tape was only like 10 minutes long. So, it's because our songs were only like a minute long, so it's like Yeah. So it was like, it would take 5 minutes to do a 10-minute tape or whatever. So you just sit there and, watch TV at somebody's house or at a hotel room and just, dub tape. So we just print out like 1 million
J cards.
J cards and stuff. And,
Kinko's, man. I gotta run over to Kinko's. I gotta put it in. Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah. Or you get, people would open it up, it'd be like a Reba McEntire tape, but with Guantanamo Baywatch on it. And when our part would be finished, it would just go into like Reba, at the end, the other half of the tape, or whatever.
That's awesome. That's great, man. What year was that, by the way, that you're doing those tapes?
That's probably 2010, because we started.
So, but before the tape boom, I mean, it was happening, but it didn't really come back all the way yet. So
yeah, there was in Portland,
tapes were cheap, already, right?
Yeah, there was already a lot of tape stuff in Portland. That was already kind of a hip like thing. You had NAR Tapes was putting out stuff. There was a whole bunch of them. I can't remember what all the different little tape labels were. You could ask Chris, our drummer. He collected all that stuff. He's got a crazy collection of all those kind of things. I was just like, sure, it melts, my car or something, tapes that are now, like I had a Mean Jeans tape that's now worth like $200, that I just wore out, and then it melted in the van or something. It's like, fuck, like I wish I still had that thing.
But spits back out at you. That's always great. Like, oh, awesome.
I never took care of any of my stuff, so, but Chris meticulously collected that stuff, which is cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, tape stuff was pretty big in Portland already. I don't know if Burger was around yet doing that. They probably were, but that hadn't really, like the Burger stuff hadn't really made it to Portland. Portland's like always like, or was like a little bit behind on stuff.
With what was going on in Southern California, and then it took a while to get back up. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I don't think it's like that anymore, but yeah. So tapes were so cheap,
Yeah. 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 And super cheap to make. I mean,
yeah.
I'm gonna start doing your Reba idea, man. That's a good fucking idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've always made tapes, so I mean, even that's always been like when we did finally get on like better labels, or maybe not better, but but different labels, it was always like, we just want to make a tape also. We've always had a tape, and they sell. I mean, we make money off we did, make money off the tapes, so.
Yeah. So where were you guys stay? You guys had enough money to stay in hotel rooms on this first
Oh God, no.
tour?
No, no.
Okay, this is later on. This is a little bit.
That's later on. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Where were
no
you
way.
staying in the van?
Oh, we stay in the van. We'd stay, in the parking lot at Starbucks or whatever. Or and then on that first tour, we met a lot of people, and also we had help too. Like, so I went to school to CCAC with Shannon Shaw and Cody from Shan the Clams and Ian, their old drummer. So they were already playing music, and they were already like doing that. They were doing their own tours and doing stuff. So, they helped us out a lot when we first started. And Justin from No Bunny helped us out a lot too, and the guys from like Tina from the Trash Women used to help us out. And so a lot of Oakland people that kind of showed us certain stuff like, hey, you stay with these people when you go to Chicago, or stay with these people in Texas or whatever. So
yeah. And were they happy to oblige this from
yeah, it was totally
a
fun.
friend of a friend kind of a deal, it
Yeah.
seems like.
Yeah, I think that just happened more too, it's just, and also, you gotta imagine, like, we had this shitty ass like minivan, like 1985 Plymouth Voyager, and we all had these really stupid haircuts and like outfits, and we just looked so dumb, and just crappy gear. And it's like, I think we'd roll through and people are just like, what the fuck is up with this band, like, what is these guys deal, so we always had a good time and made friends. I don't know.
So when did you start to see money, not just breaking even off of a tour, but kind of getting a little bit from the tour,
well,
money wise?
When we got on to Dirt Nat Records and we did Chest Crawl, that second record, like, we just toured the shit out of that record. I mean, that was when we were like touring a lot, and with every tour, learning more about, how to ask for guarantees and how to shake down a promoter, or, like how to do it, how to make sure you're always setting up your merch, and so that helped. But then once we got on like Suicide Squeeze and we started going up to Canada and out to Europe and out to Australia and stuff, that's like when we, because then you can actually start asking for more, a guarantee, and turning down stuff, or not having to work for shitty people. And then by that point, you figured out the promoters and venues you want to work with, and that who are your homie, and they're going to hook you up and treat you right and stuff. So that's kind of when we started. I mean, we never made that much money, it's like, it's like whatever. But
yeah, but I mean, heck of experience though. Yeah.
Oh, totally. Yeah. I mean, got to travel all over the world, like it's the saying.
Do you feel like you have a travel bug in you?
Totally. Yeah.
And do you think that touring helped like quench that thirst, if you will?
Definitely.
For doing that?
When we first lived in Portland, when we were all living together here in that house up on 24th, like we had shitty jobs, and we were just like always trying to get out of town. Like that was always our deal. And for some reason we just didn't like Portland at the time. We were always like, fuck this place, like we got to get out of here. Like, so we were always trying to be on the road and tour, and it was so much fun too, back then. Like, I don't know, you're like 23, 24, like just
like, sure I'll go. Like,
yeah,
ends in Kentucky or whatever.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I mean, that stuff. Well, that's the other thing too, there's no way I could have ever afforded to go to, I think we've been to every state, and it's like I would have never been able to do that. I'd never been able to go to Australia or Southeast Asia or whatever, like I couldn't afford to do that, so I was really, really fortunate to be able to do all that stuff.
What are some moments that stand out to you from touring?
Oh man, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, it's like kind of it's funny. People ask me that all the time, and I have a really bad memory. Like I just don't have a good memory, and like Chris and Chevelle have really good memories, and it's really funny. My girlfriend does, so I'm like always asking them like, where was that place? When we did that thing. Or they remember something like, oh, you remember that time we did that? I'm like, fuck, like, no, like that sounds awesome. Like I wish I would have remembered that. Australia though, like Australia was always one of my favorite places to go play, and like because we would go play these little podunk towns like out in the middle of nowhere that were just like so much fun, like basically like a roadhouse kind of thing in Texas, but like you're out in Australia, and it's just like insane. You're just like, I can't believe we're here right now.
Yeah.
But, and play, getting to play with some really cool bands, some of my favorite bands, and meet people. It's I don't know. Some of that stuff's really fun. Always South by was really fun. We did South by for like 8 years in a row, and we would go play Hotel Vegas for the burger, whatever, or not Boogaloo, Burgerama or whatever, and like this was just like so much fun. I get to play for like a ton of people, and everyone's just like drunk and having fun, treating you like you're more important than you are. That's always fun.
Where do you think you find inspiration for music to make music?
I don't know. I'm not really sure. Just playing and singing a lot, and well, it's mostly just like listening to other music. I'll listen to like especially like oldies and stuff like that, or like kind of forgotten oldies. So you're like, fuck, like this sounds so good. It's like the recording quality sounds awesome, or this guy's vocal sounds good. And I'm always like one of those people, like if there's something I like, I have a hard time just appreciating it without like trying to do it myself, so that's like I have like a million hobbies, and it's all because I'm like I think I could do that, so then I get really into it. So that's probably what it is, like just like listening to cool music, and you're like man, like I gotta make something like that, or try to get close to doing something that's that cool. I mean, you never do, but that's how I got into guitar building and working on cars and stuff. I'm like, oh, I bet I could do that. It's like thousands of dollars later worth of tools and shit. And I'm just like, oh, why did I start doing this?
But you're down the rabbit hole. You got to finish it, right? Yeah. What are some musicians that have influenced you that people wouldn't necessarily associate with your sound?
I mean, really early on, definitely like the Pixies, like, Joey Santiago, their guitar player always was like, I think that's like kind of also like got me sort of into like surf kind of sounding stuff. It's not, their stuff is not surf, but like there's definitely like those kind of elements and stuff like that. Man, something, probably a lot of country music. Like I listen to tons and tons of country music. I mean, I grew up, that was kind of the first like kind of music I listened to, like, because both my mom and my dad were sort of like, they were kind of urban cowboy era and like totally like that. Like they did line dancing. Like they lived in Arizona. My mom was like a bartender. Like my dad was just kind of like, just kind of a player, kind of womanizing guy, so they like loved country music,
Travolta's hanging out in the background. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, totally. Like, especially that like really poppy, like, Olivia Newton-John, like that kind of country music, they were both pretty into. And so growing up, going and visiting my dad and with my mom, they both were listening to that, so I still listen to a lot of country music. My favorite is kind of like 60s kind of stuff. But I still love like 80s and 90s, like country for sure. And a lot of people, and what's funny because like on some of our albums, like I like that, like kind of seeps in there. And some people are like, yeah, I love that. I like the album. I don't really like that country sounding stuff as much, or we've had songs, that are going to go on an album. And I'm like, dude, we can't put this on there. Like, this is just a country song. Like, we can't do that, So
you gotta sprinkle it in moderation.
Yeah, I have tons of country music I've written, and it's like, but kind of nowhere to put it, and I don't know. We'll see. Maybe one day I'll do that.
Did you do you ever get nervous before you? I mean, because I know you have the theatrical experience and the kind of some idea of what it is like to be on stage it without music or playing music or behind an instrument of any sort. But do you still get nervous when you go up there when you play?
Totally. I mean, like right before I like, I mean, we try to keep it cool. Like, I guess it's one of those things like an hour before you play, you're like, again, me and Chris are kind of nerds. Well, all three of us are. And it's like, we're like in the green room, like warming up instead, which is like not punk at all, but and that's when I'm nervous because like, oh, like I screwed this part up, like I'm going through the songs, like trying to remember all the parts, and it's like I'm screwing it up, like, oh, then I get nervous. But then it's like the second I get on stage, and I think Chris and Chevy are the same way, it's like you're just kind of, I don't know, you just kind of get into it, and you're kind of a different person. I think that's the other thing too, like stage person is always like kind of a different person, so that makes it easier if you kind of imagining yourself as somebody else, or doing something different, that helps for sure.
Getting outside your own head. Yeah.
I think probably most people are like that. I don't know.
Constantly playing under an alias.
Yeah totally.
Yeah.
People that are like singer songwriters are like, I really write songs from the heart, or like, this is really me, or this is really honest. I was like, I don't think I'm very honest, on stage, like
this is not me at all. Like this is a facade. Yeah.
That's who I wish I was, I guess. But then I'll see a video of myself playing, I'm like, God, that's not who I wish I was. Like that, I definitely don't look as, in my mind, I'm like so much cooler looking and sounding, and then I watch a video, I'm like that doesn't really look that cool, man. Constantly critiquing,
Oh yeah, you're your own worst critic. Yeah.
You just can't watch videos of yourself playing, I guess.
No one can beat yourself up worse than you could beat yourself.
Right. Yeah.
That's why if you get a comment like, I don't really like that, it's like, okay, well, who doesn't really like that more than you? Me. Yeah, I don't fucking like it either.
Exactly. Yeah.
What was the oddest place you've played a show, or what were some odd places you're like, this is an odd venue?
One time, so a couple years ago, I played guitar in this band called the Dumpies. That's a friend's band, and we went to Thailand, and we were doing a tour of Southeast Asia, and we played at this place that was just like, I mean, every place we played there was insane and super weird, and like, so one night we played at this like punk bar, but like punk over there, or there's not like it's not so divided like, oh, here's like metal dudes or like punk and this. It's sort of like there's not very much of it, so like everybody's just kind of like stuck together, and like all the looks, like there's no one's like pretentious about a look. There's no one that's like really, well, that's really fucked up to say. There probably is people, but it's just like, it's different, and it's like way more inclusive. Like everyone's like, oh, that's cool. I like that, which is a lot. It's awesome, but like, so that night we played, like, they just like threw some rugs out onto like this dirt patch, like outside of the bar, and they put up a chain link fence around it. And it was like absolute mayhem. Like it was insane. Like it was just like mosh pit, like people just, I mean, you can do anything in Thailand. Like there's like no rules there. I mean, you can go to the bar and like get like drinks, but you can also get like whippets like at the bar, like giant balloons filled with like CO2.
Thank you. And a Paps.
Yeah. And you're just like sitting, the kids are just sitting at the bar, like so that we did that night.
What was the worst show you ever played?
Oh God. So many bad ones, so many bad shows, so many bad promoters, like, that's probably, I don't know what the absolute worst one was. Probably the Prospector in San Diego. that was probably, I mean, there's got to be worse ones. There's probably 100 that are worse, but I always remember that one because it was like our first time or second time. Well, no, that was maybe our second or third time in San Diego. And the guy, you know, was like, oh, you know, come on down. Like, it's going to be great. Like all this stuff. And, you know, we played to like absolutely no one, like at 5 or something, you know, it was like super early. And, you know, and we had 2 bands with us, you know, and they're like, oh yeah, well, you know, it's always the same story. Like, oh man, we really thought there'd be more people here. I don't know what happened. It's like, motherfucker, like you didn't promote it. Like, that's why. Like, of course no one showed up. No one even knows we're supposed to be here. The bartenders are like, wait, there's a show, you know, like, and then they're like, yeah, we had to pay the sound guy $200 to do sound. So here, at least we got you guys some cash for gas, you know. And it's like, you know, like $12. You know, we're like, thanks, dude. Like, thanks a lot, you know. And years later, that guy ended up moving to Portland and like trying to like buddy up with me and be like, oh, cool, man. Like, hey, you know, we should put some shows together and stuff.
Yeah, like, you should fucking tell somebody.
I'm like, really? Like, that's wild. Like, so ballsy, you know. I mean, that can't be the worst. There's so many. I've played sick, you know. I've played where I have the flu, like in fucking in Texas and Knoxville, like just being so dead sick on tour, just like having to play, you know, like puking, like running to the bathroom off stage to like puke, you know, like that stuff's the worst. I hate that.
Yeah. Oh man, I can only imagine that, dude. Oh,
when you just like cannot take a night off, like that sucks, you know. You're like, we've got to play the show, you know?
It's just go yeah. What was the best show you ever played? Or some of the best shows?
Man, we played with who did we play with? Well, we played with Dick Dale one time. That was one of my favorite shows. It wasn't like the biggest or best show, but it's just cool, like getting to play with people like that. Or, you know, we've got to play with Low Straight Jackets, which is one of my favorites, you know. So those kind of shows are really, really fun. You know, we played some really cool shows like in Europe. They're just like massive, where you're just like, you have, you know, it's like some festival or whatever, and you have no idea what you're walking into, and it's like, Jesus, there's like 2,000 people here, you know. And it's like oh fuck, you know. Or
how many times did that happen? You're like, it's a show at whatever capacity, and then it's at capacity.
Insane. Yeah, that happens. That's happened to us before. It's, you know, I know other bands, you know, we're not really that big of a band, or never were, you know, excuse me, but so I know it's like normal for, you know, Shan the Clams or Black Lips or something like that, you know. But actually we played with them, with Shan the Clams, not too long ago in New York for Halloween with Kid Congo, and that was one of the best shows. That was just like right in the middle of tour, when you're like at your best and you're just like ripping and just killing the songs, and, you know, just tons of people. That was a really, really fun show. But,
yeah. I mean, that's a heck of a lineup, man. Yeah. And Shannon's been on here, and she's a great person.
Yeah.
Shout out to Shannon. Yeah. She's
fantastic.
What I've heard is like they're with
good company.
Over the years, people there. The success that you garnered through Guantanamo Baywatch, did you ever expect the amount that you've gotten?
Oh, no way.
Like when you started it, did you ever think that you'd get to the level that you're at?
No,
or that it has gotten to, rather?
Yeah. I mean, I think the caveat is like, we never really made it that big, you know. So,
I mean, but you guys are known, and you know. I mean, the guy who's helping run Guantanamo Bay knows you, man. Right, he's got the shirt, dude. He's got the shirt, man.
He's got a t-shirt. No way. I mean, it's awesome though. I think there was definitely a point, like kind of in the middle, especially after like the Too Late album came out, where we were like, it was like, wait a minute, like, yo, we could like really do this if we really try hard, you know. I mean, we were always trying hard, but it was like, you know, it's like, hey, we should like try and like get more, you know, quit our jobs, you know, and like live together, and you know, really start, making music videos and start doing it. And that was cool because, when we started getting some help, like a booking agent or, when Suicide Squeeze, signed us, that was like so huge. That was so awesome. Like, they're like the best record label there is, in my opinion. Like, they're like the nicest, most helpful, coolest. Like,
look at their lineup. I mean,
dude, and yeah, I mean, who wouldn't want to be on that label? It's like the sickest label, and just like how they treat their bands, they're just so awesome. And so once David was like, do you guys want to make some records? It was like, that's, I think, when we got more serious and where it was like, holy shit, like we could maybe be like a bigger band, and make some money and start licensing more music. That's always something I've been like trying to do, is like, sell music to shit.
How many times have you been offered to like for a buyout for a song?
Oh, I license quite a bit of music. Barbacoa gets licensed out quite a bit.
Oh, really?
All kinds of shit.
What was the first
Converse, one? Converse shoe. We did one with Nike skateboarding. We
Converse and Nike. Well, I mean, I guess Nike owns Converse, so I guess it's not really that. Yeah. Anyways.
But then we used to be sponsored by Vans for a while, which is actually a really rad company. Like, they're super sweet, and that was, they used to use our music all the time and fly us out to. Oh, that was probably one of the most fun trips we ever did. They used to fly us out to Hawaii for the Triple Crown, the surfing competition, and they flew us and Tracy Bryant out there for like 4 days, and we stayed at the Turtle Bay Resort where they filmed Forgetting Sarah Marshall. That resort that he goes to.
Yeah.
And it was just like, that was one of those times like, holy shit, like I can't believe like we tricked these people into thinking we're like this popular, because like we're not. Like, they totally don't deserve this at all.
Yeah.
They took us out to we went to Bali one time. They took us out there to play a show, which was like, again, where you're just like, I can't believe, like, it's like we totally tricked them. Like, they think like that we deserve this. We don't. It's like, but also we're probably a cheap date. It's like, we're probably like the cheapest band you could buy.
How much you want? Oh, that's it. Oh, yeah. Man, I guess we could do it, man. You really.
Yeah. We're like, could we get like a
really got us?
They're like, sure, like you'll just take shoes, like, sick, okay.
Sick. Hey man, I'll throw in some socks too, dude.
Yeah, exactly. Like, dude, sick.
Yes. Dude, it comes with stickers, man. Like, you can put that wherever.
We got stickers, but no, they're super awesome.
Yeah, definitely. And Bands is good.
Yeah. You follow that guy, was it Band Memes on Instagram?
No, I don't. But is it good? Is it worth a follow?
You got to follow that dude. He seems, I don't know him, but he seems like a cool dude. But like, there's so many memes about that. It's like, yeah, like working on the record for like, my COVID record that like will never come out. Shit like that.
Yeah. Dude, it's gonna be done, man. I got all this time, and I'm gonna make it done. And
all I did was buy gear during the pandemic. It's like, I'm going to write all this music. All I did was spend money. I just bought a bunch of shit.
It's a first step, dude. It's the first step.
Yeah. Oh, I have plenty of gear. I'm surrounded by fucking gear right now. I don't need anything, but yeah, I'm writing some music. Mostly, I'm building guitars. I've got this that we're in the shop right now. And that takes up most of my time right now, is making guitars for other people. So
that's awesome, man. So you're still surrounding yourself with it and working on it in some aspect. Yeah,
totally. Yeah. I mean, I'm like always busy with that kind of crap,
Yeah, definitely, man. Well, I mean, that's great to hear, man. And I like to wrap this up with some promos, so people can still, find and buy Guantanamo Baywatch's music at guantanamobaywatch.bandcamp.com. That's the best place that they can go, right?
Yeah, or actually the Suicide Squeeze.
Suicide Squeeze as well. Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably the most helpful place to buy music. I mean, just because like it supports SSR and also helps us get that principal balance down on our, on the what we paid to make the records, So
that, and then that'll trickle into this this whole college dilemma with the school money. So everything helps.
Yeah, it's good to
All
go
right,
awesome. Buy it through Suicide Squeeze for sure.
SuicideSqueeze.net, I believe, is what it is, and then you can just go directly to the shop. I believe so. Yeah,
you can get all the stuff. I think you can. Some of the older stuff you can buy through our Bandcamp, but all the Suicide Squeeze stuff's on there.
All the new stuff go to Suicide Squeeze. All the old stuff go to the Bandcamp. Yeah. All right. Awesome. Is there anything else we need to plug?
Go to the Tom Bora Instagram, my guitar company Instagram.
Just say Tom Bora. Tom.
Yeah. Tom Bora.
How do you spell that?
It's TOMBORA. Maybe underscore guitars, I think is what it is, but you can find it if you just put that in. But
so I just Tom Bora.
Yeah, it's just got all the shop and all the stuff I'm working on, and I don't know if people are into that kind of stuff, watching nerdy guitar making videos. There's a lot of that.
Man, sweet dude. That's awesome. Thank you so much for coming on, man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it, man.
All right, man. I'm gonna stop recording this. I'll talk to you in a second.
All right, cool.
All right, man.